A slave sold into Egypt dreams that one day he will become the savior of the entire nation. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen, right? Yeah, it turns out it actually does. So let's imagine for a moment that you are a slave. You wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. You had another dream where you were free and people were looking to you for guidance and leadership. But then you wake up and you realize, wait a second, I am a slave. This is going to continue to happen every single night for 7 years until finally your master, Pharaoh, has an actual problem and he asks you, Joseph, his slave, to solve it. And this is how you go from being a slave to the savior of Egypt. Now look, we all have problems. We get stressed, we get overwhelmed, but most of us can say, hey, at least my life isn't like Joseph. I mean, if somebody came up to me now and said, hey, I need you to save the entire economy, I would be like, no, thank you. That's not going to end well. However, here's the thing. God has a sense of humor, and sometimes he will tell you what's coming before it happens so that you can prepare yourself. And this is exactly what happened with Joseph. It says, and behold, an interpreter was brought to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh said, interpret my dream to me. And he said, you stood in your garden, Holly, and saw 7 beautiful cows come up out of the river, fat and well-conditioned. Then 7 more ugly cows came up after them, lean, sickly, and bald-headed. And they devoured the 7 beautiful cows. They ate them up, and their heads and their tails were bald. I saw them in my dream. Oh, wise one, please interpret it. Now, Pharaoh didn't know what the dream meant, so he summoned the wisest man that he knew and said, hey, can you tell me what this dream means? The wise guy looked at him and said, I can't do that. You need to bring in an interpreter. So then Joseph is summoned. He goes in and interprets the dream. He tells Pharaoh exactly what it means and what is going to happen in the future because of these things that happened in the dream. And then Pharaoh gives him all the authority to basically take care of the problem. He makes him the viceroy of the entire country of Egypt. What Joseph did not know was this wasn't just a dream. It was an assignment. It was a vision. It was something that God told him was going to happen, and he prepared for it. You see, most people never take the time to write down their dreams. They don't even remember their dreams. But when God gives you a dream, he doesn't want you to forget about it. He wants you to write it down. He wants you to plan for it. He wants you to get ready for it because it might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen next week. But eventually, that dream, that vision will line up. Here are 7 lessons I learned from Joseph. No. 1, never reject a divine calling because you feel unprepared or unqualified. See, when God called Moses to go and deliver Israel from Egypt, Moses said, who am I that you would send me to Pharaoh? Who am I, God, that you would send me to Israel? But God said, I am going to be with you. Bottom line, if God calls you to do something, he's going to equip you to do it. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to have enough faith to trust him and take the first step. No. 2, always honor God in your work. When Joseph interpreted the dream of Pharaoh, he didn't take all the credit. He said, listen, this is a God thing. God has given me insight. He has given me wisdom. And I can tell you what's going to happen. He always honored God. And you should do the same thing. Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a plumber, a mechanic, whatever it is that you do, always give God the glory. No, 3. Don't waste your circumstances. You might be saying, God, why am I here? Why am I in this situation? Listen, God will use your circumstances to prepare you for your purpose. Joseph went from being sold as a slave to becoming the savior of Egypt. Do not waste your circumstances. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're facing, don't waste it. Write it down. Say, God, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me about you? What is this teaching me about me? How is this preparing me for the future? No. 4. In times of plenty, lay up treasure in store. Joseph understood when there was famine coming that he needed to be prepared, so he laid up treasures in store. Now, sometimes we live paycheck to paycheck. I understand that, but when you get extra money, when you get a bonus, when you get a raise, when you get a tax return, whatever it is, don't waste it. Lay up treasure in store because you never know when you're going to need it. I can't tell you how many people who call up and say, hey, I'm behind on my bills. I'm behind on my rent. I'm behind on my car payment. Can you help me out financially? And I wish I could, but I'm in the exact same situation as you are. I don't have any more money than you have. So having extra money set aside can really help you in a time of financial crisis. No. 5. Be loyal to your calling, not to your comfort zone. Joseph could have easily said, you know what? I'm going to make the best of this situation. I'm going to work hard. I am gone. Nah, I'll be the favorite slave, and then maybe one day I'll get out of here. He didn't do that. He stayed true to his calling, which was when the time was right, he was going to leave slavery and he was going to go home to his family. Number 6, don't let fear paralyze you. Sometimes we're afraid to move forward because we're afraid of what other people will say. We're afraid of what's going to happen. Well, Joseph could have been paralyzed by fear. He could have said, oh man, what if I'm not smart enough? What if I'm not handsome enough? What if I'm not good enough? But he didn't. Instead, he trusted God and he moved forward. And number 7, don't allow your past to define your future. Joseph had a rough childhood. His brothers sold him into slavery. He was treated horribly, but he didn't let his past define his future. Instead, he allowed his faith to define his future. You see, most of us have a past that we're ashamed of. Maybe you grew up with alcoholic parents or abusive parents, or you made some bad decisions. I'm here to tell you, don't allow your past to define your future. Allow your faith to define your future. So if you're feeling a little discouraged today, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, just remember God has a sense of humor, and sometimes He will tell you what's coming before it happens so that you can prepare yourself. That's it for today. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this message. If you did, I encourage you to share it with a friend, subscribe, and join us every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 6 a.m. Arizona time for our daily devotional. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.